What if the life you want is hiding behind the things you keep avoiding? The workout you don't want to do. The conversation you're afraid to have. The work you've been postponing. The habit you keep promising to start tomorrow. Because here's the uncomfortable truth. You don't become stronger by doing what feels easy. You become stronger every time you do what you don't feel like doing. And the Stoics understood this thousands of years ago. The battle nobody sees. Every morning, you wake up and face a choice. Not a dramatic choice. Not a choice between success and failure. Something much smaller. You can stay in bed, or get up. You can start the work, or scroll. You can train, or make an excuse. You can control your emotions, or react. You can face the difficult thing, or postpone it for another day. And these tiny decisions seem insignificant, but they aren't, because your life is being built through them. The person you become is not created by one heroic moment. It's created by what you repeatedly do when nobody is watching. This is where Stoicism becomes powerful. Stoicism isn't about becoming emotionless. It isn't about pretending life is easy. And it isn't about suffering for no reason. Stoicism teaches something much more practical. Train yourself to act according to your values instead of your temporary feelings. Because feelings change. Discomfort changes. Motivation disappears. But discipline can remain. Why hard things feel so hard? Your brain naturally looks for the easiest path. This isn't because you're weak. It's because the human brain is designed to conserve energy and avoid unnecessary pain. When something looks difficult, your mind immediately begins negotiating. Maybe tomorrow. Just 5 more minutes. I'll do it when I feel motivated. I need to be in the right mood. And the most dangerous sentence of all, I deserve a break. Sometimes you do, but sometimes your mind isn't asking for rest. It's asking for escape. There is a difference. Rest restores you. Avoidance temporarily comforts you. But avoidance has a hidden price. Every time you run away from something difficult, you teach your brain, I cannot handle discomfort. And every time you face it, you teach your brain, I can survive discomfort. That's how resilience is built. Not through motivational speeches, through repetitions. The Stoics' secret, stop waiting to feel ready. Background music, building slowly. One of the biggest mistakes people make is waiting for motivation. They think, when I feel motivated, I'll start. But discipline works in the opposite direction. You start, and motivation often follows. Marcus Aurelius repeatedly reminded himself to perform the work required of a human being. His philosophy wasn't, do what feels comfortable. It was, do what is necessary. Imagine a soldier waiting for fear to disappear before entering battle. He would never move. Courage doesn't mean fear disappears. Courage means you act while fear is present. The same applies to everyday life. You don't need to feel confident before making the difficult phone call. You don't need to feel motivated before exercising. You don't need to feel inspired before starting your work. You only need to begin. Do the next hard thing. Text on screen, do the next hard thing. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what is within our control. You cannot control whether the task will be enjoyable. You cannot control whether people will appreciate your effort. You cannot control how quickly the result arrives. But you can control your next action. That's it. The next action. If you're overwhelmed by exercise, don't think about 6 months. Put on your shoes. If you're overwhelmed by studying, don't think about the entire course. Open the book. If you're overwhelmed by work, don't think about finishing everything. Work for the next 10 minutes. If you're afraid of an important conversation, don't rehearse the entire future. Write down what needs to be said. The mind becomes overwhelmed when it tries to carry the entire mountain. So carry one stone, then another, then another. Eventually, you discover you have climbed. The mountain doesn't care about your mood. Visual, massive mountain. Small person walking upward. Imagine standing at the bottom of a mountain. The mountain doesn't care whether you feel motivated. It doesn't care whether you slept well. It doesn't care whether yesterday was difficult. It simply exists. And if you want to reach the top, you climb. One step, then another, then another. Life works the same way. Hard things don't become easy because you complain about them. They become manageable because you become stronger. This is one of the most important Stoic principles. Don't ask life to become easier. Train yourself to become stronger. Seneca wrote about difficulties as opportunities to test strength. The obstacle becomes the training ground. The difficult situation becomes the gym for your character. Your discomfort is not your enemy. Background music, dark but hopeful. We spend enormous amounts of energy trying to eliminate discomfort. We avoid difficult conversations. We avoid rejection. We avoid uncertainty. We avoid physical exhaustion. We avoid boredom. We avoid being beginners. But discomfort isn't automatically a warning. Sometimes it's an invitation. When you exercise, your muscles burn. That doesn't necessarily mean something is wrong. It can mean your body is adapting. The same principle applies psychologically. When you practice discipline, your mind complains. That doesn't necessarily mean you're doing the wrong thing. It may mean you're training. Think about cold water. The first few seconds feel shocking. But if you remain calm, your body adapts. Discipline works similarly. You repeatedly enter controlled discomfort, and gradually, what once felt impossible becomes normal. Practice voluntary discomfort. One powerful Stoic practice is voluntary discomfort, not because suffering is good by itself, but because comfort can make you fragile when it becomes your only condition for functioning. Try occasionally doing something difficult on purpose. Wake up when you said you would. Take the stairs. Finish your workout. Put the phone away. Work without checking notifications. Take a cold shower if it's safe and appropriate for you. Spend time without entertainment. Have the conversation you've been avoiding. Finish the task before rewarding yourself. These aren't punishments. They're exercises. You're telling your mind, I decide what I do. Not every uncomfortable feeling gets to make the decision. The 5-minute rule. Here's a simple strategy. When something feels overwhelming, commit to doing it for only 5 minutes, 0.5 minutes. Not an hour. Not the entire project. Just 5 minutes. Clean for 5 minutes. Write for 5 minutes. Exercise for 5 minutes. Study for 5 minutes. Organize for 5 minutes. Often, the hardest part isn't the task. It's crossing the psychological barrier between thinking and doing. Once you begin, momentum takes over. And sometimes 5 minutes becomes 20. 20 becomes 40. And suddenly, the thing you were terrified to start is almost finished. The battle with your future self. Every decision you make creates a relationship with your future self. When you procrastinate today, your future self inherits the problem. When you do the hard thing today, your future self inherits the reward. Think about that. The person you will be 6 months from now is watching what you do today, not literally, but metaphorically. Every workout is a vote for a stronger future self. Every study session is a vote for a wiser future self. Every difficult conversation handled with courage is a vote for a more confident future self. Every time you resist an impulse, you strengthen your ability to choose. Discipline is not punishment. Some people hear the word discipline and imagine punishment. They think discipline means forcing yourself to suffer constantly. It doesn't. Real discipline is self-respect expressed through action. If you know something matters to you, and you consistently refuse to do it, eventually your confidence begins to decline. You stop trusting yourself. You say, I'll wake up early. Then you don't. I'll exercise tomorrow. Then you don't. I'll finish the project. Then you don't. Each broken promise seems small, but they accumulate. Eventually, the problem isn't the unfinished task. The problem is, you no longer believe your own promises. Discipline rebuilds that trust. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, you send a message. My word means something. Keep small promises to yourself. Don't start by promising something enormous. Start small. If you say you'll walk for 10 minutes, walk for 10 minutes. If you say you'll write 1 page, write 1 page. If you say you'll wake up at 7, get up at 7. The goal isn't to impress yourself. The goal is to become trustworthy to yourself. Because self-discipline is built through evidence. You don't think yourself into discipline. You prove it. One action at a time. What to do when you have zero motivation. There will be days when motivation is completely absent. This is normal. The disciplined person isn't someone who always feels motivated. It's someone who has learned what to do when motivation disappears. On those days, lower the standard if necessary. But don't abandon the identity. Can't do a full workout? Do 10 minutes. Can't write 10 pages? Write one paragraph. Can't study for 2 hours? Study for 15 minutes. Can't solve the entire problem? Solve the next part. There is a difference between reducing the intensity and quitting. Sometimes the best discipline is simply maintaining the chain. Never miss twice. You will fail. You will procrastinate. You will have lazy days. You will break routines that you're human. The danger isn't missing once. The danger is turning one failure into an identity. You miss Monday. Then Tuesday becomes, well, I've already failed. Then Wednesday, I'll restart next week. And suddenly one bad day becomes a bad month. Instead, use this rule. Never miss twice. Miss once, return. Eat badly today, return tomorrow. Skip the workout, return tomorrow. Lose your temper, reflect, and try again. The Stoic mindset doesn't demand perfection, that it demands recovery. When life forces you to do hard things, sometimes the hard thing isn't something you chose. Sometimes life chooses it for you. You lose someone. You lose money, that a relationship ends, that a business fails, someone disappoints you. Your plans collapse. You face uncertainty, and suddenly, there is no motivational quote strong enough to make the pain disappear. This is where philosophy matters most, because Stoicism doesn't promise that life won't hurt. It teaches you how to meet pain without allowing pain to destroy your character. Epictetus emphasized the distinction between what is within our control and what isn't. You may not control what happened, but you can still influence what happens next. You can choose your response. You can choose your next action. You can choose whether suffering makes you bitter or wiser. The difficult conversation. Maybe your hard thing today isn't physical. Maybe it's emotional. You need to tell someone the truth, set a boundary. Apologize, say no, admit you're wrong, ask for help. These things can feel terrifying, but avoiding them doesn't remove the problem. That it simply moves the problem into the future. Sometimes courage sounds like, we need to talk. Sometimes courage sounds like, I'm sorry. Sometimes courage sounds like, no. And sometimes courage sounds like, I don't know. The Stoic doesn't ask, how can I avoid discomfort? The Stoic asks, what is the honorable thing to do? That's a much better question. Stop negotiating with your weak moments. Your weakest moments are often incredibly persuasive. Just one episode. Just 5 more minutes. Nobody will know. I'll do it tomorrow. The problem is that your mind becomes a lawyer defending whatever it wants right now. Don't debate endlessly. Create rules before temptation arrives. If you want to exercise every morning, prepare your clothes at night. If you want to stop scrolling, keep the phone away from your bed. If you want to write, open the document before you sleep. Make the right action easier. Make the wrong action harder. Discipline isn't always about having incredible willpower. Sometimes it's about designing your environment intelligently. The power of routine. A routine removes unnecessary decisions. Imagine waking up and asking yourself every morning, should I exercise? Should I work? Should I read? Should I eat well? You're forcing yourself to negotiate with yourself constantly. Instead, create a routine. This time, I wake up at this time, I work at this time, I train at this time, I rest at this time, I sleep. The routine becomes automatic. And when something becomes automatic, you don't need motivation to begin. Do hard things before easy things. Here's a powerful principle. Don't reward yourself before you've earned the reward. If you wake up and immediately consume entertainment, your brain gets its reward before doing anything difficult. Then work feels even harder. Instead, do something meaningful first. Exercise, write, study, work, clean, create, then enjoy entertainment. This changes your relationship with pleasure. You aren't eliminating pleasure. You're putting it in its proper place. Your phone is training you too. Every notification teaches your brain to seek stimulation. Every short video gives you immediate novelty. Every swipe offers something new. Then you sit down to do something slow, read a book, write a report, learn a skill. and suddenly it feels unbearable. Why? Because you've trained your attention to demand constant stimulation. So practice boredom. Sit without your phone. Walk without headphones sometimes. Eat without watching something. Wait without scrolling. At first, it may feel uncomfortable. Good. You're rebuilding your ability to remain present. The Stoic morning question. Before starting your day, ask yourself, what difficult thing am I willing to do today? Not, what do I feel like doing? Not, how can I have an easy day? Ask, what would make me respect myself tonight? Maybe it's a workout. Maybe it's finishing your work. Maybe it's apologizing. Maybe it's saying no. Maybe it's studying. Maybe it's staying calm when someone provokes you. Choose one hard thing, then do it. When someone doubts you, someone may tell you, you can't. You'll never succeed. Why are you even trying? Don't waste your life arguing. Let your actions answer. The Stoic isn't obsessed with proving people wrong, because proving people wrong still gives them control over your attention. Instead, prove yourself right. Quietly, consistently, patiently. Let your results speak. Hard work without attachment. There's another important Stoic lesson. You can control your effort. You cannot completely control the result. You can study, but you cannot guarantee the exam result. You can build a business, but you cannot guarantee success. You can treat someone with kindness, but you cannot control how they respond. You can create a video, but you cannot control whether everyone watches it. Your responsibility is your effort. The outcome belongs partly to circumstances. So give your best, then release the obsession. This protects you from two dangerous extremes: despair when things fail, and arrogance when things succeed. The person who can do hard things. Imagine becoming the kind of person who doesn't need perfect conditions. Rain? You continue. Bad mood? You continue. Nobody praises you? You continue. Slow progress? You continue. Failure? You learn and continue. That person becomes dangerous to their own limitations because they no longer depend on comfort. They depend on commitment. And commitment is stronger than motivation. Your identity follows your actions. You may currently think, I'm lazy, I'm inconsistent, I'm not disciplined. But be careful. Identity can become a prison. Instead of saying, I'm not disciplined, ask, what would a disciplined person do next? Then do that thing. Your identity changes through evidence. One disciplined action, then another, then another. Eventually, the sentence changes. I'm becoming disciplined. And later, I'm someone who does what I say. The 1 hour challenge. Try this today. Give yourself 1 hour. For that 1 hour, no social media, no unnecessary notifications, no entertainment, no excuses. Choose one difficult task and work on it. You don't need to finish everything. You only need to give 1 hour of honest effort. At the end, ask, did I become stronger because of this hour? If the answer is yes, you won. Because the purpose of discipline isn't simply completing tasks. It's building character. When you feel like quitting, there will be a moment when your mind says, enough. Maybe you're exhausted. Maybe progress is invisible. Maybe nobody notices. Maybe you're wondering if it's worth it. Before quitting, ask yourself, do I want to stop because this is truly wrong for me? Or because this is temporarily uncomfortable? That's an important distinction. Sometimes quitting is wisdom. Sometimes quitting is avoidance. Learn the difference. If the path is wrong, change direction. But if the path is right and the only problem is discomfort, stay. Discipline in relationships. Hard things aren't always productive things. Sometimes discipline means controlling your tongue. Someone insults you. Your instinct says, respond. But you pause. You breathe. You choose your words. That's discipline. Someone provokes you. You don't react immediately. That's discipline. You're angry. You don't send a message. You wait. That's discipline. Marcus Aurelius emphasized responding to wrongdoing with reason rather than becoming like the person who harmed you. Your emotional reaction is not always your best response. Do the hard thing with calmness. Doing hard things doesn't mean becoming aggressive. It means becoming steady. The strongest person in the room isn't necessarily the loudest. Sometimes strength looks like silence. Sometimes it looks like patience. Sometimes it looks like walking away. Sometimes it looks like starting again. Real strength is controlled strength. The nightly Stoic review. At night, ask yourself 3 questions. What did I do well today? Where did I give in to weakness? What will I do differently tomorrow? Don't attack yourself. Don't create shame. Observe, learn, adjust. This is how you turn every day into training. A difficult day becomes a lesson. A failure becomes information. A mistake becomes feedback. Nothing is wasted if you learn from it. The 3 Stoic laws of doing hard things. Let's bring everything together. Law 1. Do what is necessary, not what is comfortable. Your feelings can be acknowledged without becoming your commander. Law 2. Control your action, release the outcome. Give everything you can to the process. Don't destroy yourself, try to control what belongs to fate. Law 3. Practice discomfort deliberately. Don't wait for life to train you. Train yourself, because when difficult circumstances arrive, you will already have experience. A realistic daily system. Here's a simple system you can begin tomorrow. Morning. Wake up at the time you decided. Make your bed. Move your body. Spend a few minutes without your phone. Ask, what is the most important hard thing I need to do today? Do it early if possible. Afternoon. Work in focus blocks. Remove distractions. When resistance appears, don't immediately escape. Stay for another 5 minutes. Evening. Review your day. Ask, did I keep my promises? Did I avoid unnecessary comfort? Did I act according to my values? Then prepare tomorrow. This isn't about perfection. It's about consistency. The days when you fail. And when you fail, don't turn one mistake into 10. Don't say, I'm useless. Don't say, I always do this. Don't say, I'll never change. Say, that was one decision. I can make a different decision next. This is important. Discipline without compassion becomes self-punishment. Compassion without discipline becomes complacency. You need both. Be honest about your failures, but don't become them. Why your future is built in private. Nobody sees most of your important decisions. Nobody sees when you choose to study instead of scroll. Nobody sees when you wake up early. Nobody sees when you resist anger. Nobody sees when you keep working after motivation disappears. And that's exactly why those moments matter. Because when nobody is watching, you're not performing, you're training. Your private habits eventually become your public reality. The final Stoic test. Imagine your life 5 years from now. There are 2 possibilities. In one version, you continue choosing comfort. You postpone. You negotiate. You wait for motivation. You avoid difficult conversations. You abandon goals whenever they become uncomfortable. 5 years pass. In the other version, you begin doing difficult things consistently. Not perfectly, consistently. You exercise. You learn. You work. You recover from failure. You control your reactions. You keep promises to yourself. You become comfortable being uncomfortable. 5 years pass. Both versions of you had the same 24 hours every day. The difference was what you did with them. You don't need a new life. Maybe you don't need a completely new life. Maybe you need new daily decisions. You don't need to become extraordinary tomorrow. You need to become slightly more disciplined today. One difficult conversation. One workout. One focused hour. One temptation resisted. One promise kept. One emotional reaction controlled. These things look small, but small actions repeated for years become enormous. The Stoic question. So, tomorrow morning, when the alarm rings, when your mind says, 5 more minutes, remember this. You're not simply deciding whether to get out of bed. You're deciding who is in charge. Your feelings, or your principles. Your comfort, or your commitment. Your excuses, or your future. The hard thing isn't always the obstacle. Sometimes, the hard thing is becoming the person capable of overcoming it. Final message, the Stoic way. You will never reach a point in life where everything becomes easy. There will always be another challenge, another difficult conversation, another temptation, another mountain, another fear. And that's okay, because the goal was never to create a life without difficulty. The goal is to become the kind of person who can meet difficulty without losing themselves. Marcus Aurelius wrote about meeting each day with a willingness to perform the work required. Seneca taught that adversity can reveal and develop strength. Epictetus reminded us that our judgments and choices are where our real freedom lives. Together, these ideas create a powerful philosophy. Do your part. Face the difficulty. Control your response. Accept what you cannot control. And keep moving. You don't have to conquer your entire life today. Just conquer the next decision, the next temptation, the next excuse, the next difficult task. One day at a time, one choice at a time, one hard thing at a time. And eventually, you won't be the person who keeps asking, how can I make life easier? You'll become the person who says, whatever comes, I can handle it. If this message gave you a different way to look at discipline, don't chase motivation. Take one hard thing from this video and do it today, not tomorrow. Today, because knowledge without action changes nothing. But one disciplined action can change the direction of an entire life. And if you want more Stoic lessons on discipline, emotional control, resilience, and becoming mentally stronger, subscribe to Anima Forte. Remember, do hard things, keep your word, control what you can, accept what you cannot, and become stronger through the process. Thanks for watching.